Before we get into Mel Kiper's draft grades, which we filmed during our live show yesterday on Wednesday, OJ Simpson put out quite the tweet, and I had to get it to everyone. He tweeted out a video talking about Baker Mayfield, and he offered his 2 cents on the whole Baker saga. And I think it's too good not to share. So here's what he said, and I'm not going to screw up this quote. Hey, Twitter world, it's me, yours truly. Well, today we're talking about Baker Mayfield and what to do with Baker. It sounds like it's like a children's book reading. Well, it's apparent that no one is going to make any real significant trade for Baker, at least not yet. If I'm running the Cleveland Browns, I'm keeping Baker until Deshaun Watson arrives. Matter of fact, I'm starting the season with Baker. And if Baker goes 4-2, 5-1, as soon as Watson's 6-game suspension, that's going to be good for Baker. Because at that point in time, we are going to know what's going on in Carolina with Sam Darnold. We are going to know what's going on up in Seattle. We are going to know what's going on in Houston with young kid Mills. And I think we are going to know what's going on in Atlanta with Marcus Mariota. Baker may have more value after 6 games. He had some more stuff to add on to the end, but that was really the nuts and bolts of his video. Listen, Baker is not playing a snap for the Cleveland Browns in 2022. One, he's just way too proud of a guy to swallow his pride and be the backup and know he'll only play a couple games until Deshaun Watson, if he is suspended, returns from a suspension. 2, Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry, that's just way too awkward for them to say, hey, Baker, I know we traded for your replacement, but he's in timeout. So could you come play a couple games? Would that be all right? No, there's no way either side does this. Baker will sit out. If he doesn't get traded, Baker sits out. The Browns do not find him, and ultimately they hope for an injury, which you never want to, but in this case, Barry probably does, and then they can trade him after that. But that's my 2 cents. That's at least my take on this. What do you think? Let me know. Will Baker play a snap for the Browns in 2022? Y for yes, N for no. Get your votes in, and then we're going to switch on over to Mel Kiper's Browns draft grades on the other side of the intro video that was filmed yesterday. So enjoy the rest of the show, and I'll see you guys later. Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson. Coming up on today's show, we're going to react to Mel Kiper's NFL draft grades. See what he thought of the Browns' 2022 NFL draft class and kind of revisit the picks Andrew Berry made. First, Mel Kiper, though. He gave the Browns a B, grading all 32 NFL teams, and he was a little lazy, right? 2 A's, 28 B's, and 2 C's. He couldn't even sprinkle in like a D or an F. I don't know how the Rams get a C when they didn't even pick anyone until 104, I believe. Now, he did give credit to Andrew Berry for working without a first-round pick, also a second-rounder, which he traded out of, but still, he didn't pick until 68, I beg your pardon, in round 3. So, there's a little credit there, but still, to get a B when you don't have a first or a second-round pick, you must think very highly of what Andrew Berry did in day 2 and day 3. Let's revisit the picks, by the way, in case you forgot. Martin Emerson, the corner from Mississippi State. Alex Wright, edge rusher out of UAB. Bell from Purdue, who was a monster in the Big Ten the last couple seasons. Perrion Winfrey out of OU, great value in round 4. And then he makes a bit of a splashy pick, right? Cade York, yo kicker. Round 4, I like it. Jerome Ford, the running back from Cincinnati in 5, who had 19 touchdowns last season for the Bearcats? He goes back-to-back Oklahoma players just to troll the OU fan base. Because a lot of OU fans became Browns fans when Baker went there, because he is their second coming of Jesus Christ. But he just wanted to mess with them a little more by picking 3 Oklahoma players, forcing people in Norman to continue to watch Browns football. And then Dawson Deaton, center out of Texas Tech. You let go J.C. Treader, you're in round 7. You look for someone who can compete on special teams, and if it's at a position of need-ish, you go with it. So grade the Browns NFL draft class. A, B, C, D, or F. Keiper gave him a B. Are you on track with Mel, or are you a little higher or a little lower on it? I think B's fair. My initial draft grade was a B-, because you didn't have a first or second round pick. That was Deshaun Watson, essentially. So I gave him a B-. Mel gave him a B. I want to know what you gave the Browns, though, down in the comment section. Let's visit what Mel Kiper said, by the way, in the article. Martin Emerson, 68, is an outside press corner. Defensive end Alex Wright, 78, has long arms for his 6'5" frame and has some some upside as a pass rusher. And Cade York is my top-ranked kicker. Perrion Winfrey is a nice value pick. I thought he could go 50 picks earlier. As a 3-technique tackle, he can wreak havoc against centers and guards. The takeaway I have, by the way, is I guess this means Greg Newsome is going to be moving to slot. When you trade Troy Hill away, and don't sell yourself on this, Martin Emerson is not a slot guy. All right? He's not the fastest, quickest burst who can keep up over the middle, right? That's what you want from your slot receiver or your slot nickel DB. So I guess that means Newsome is going to bounce inside. I would like to envision that Barry and Stefanski met up and talked about if we pick Emerson and we trade Hill, who's going to replace Troy Hill. This is my best guess at the depth chart. Ronnie Harrison and Grant Delpit can be swapped in or out, interchangeable in my opinion. They roll with a lot of 3 safety sets anyway. I think that puts Greedy Williams at CB2 for now. You know, Martin Emerson was a good pick. I think he's going to be a good corner, don't get me wrong. But I think it's Williams' job going into camp to lose. So that's my depth chart right there for now. What's the Browns' biggest need after the draft? Wide receiver, defensive end. It's kind of the same needs going into the draft. Now you're just looking for cherry on top. You know, now you're just like, can we even add some more muscle to this awesome and stacked roster? Let me know what you think down below. More from Mel Kiper. David Bell dropped because of his speed. He ran a 4.65 second 40 at the combine, but he put up huge numbers at Purdue. He could be a nice target on curls and crossers because of his sure hands. I expect Cleveland to be in the market for veteran receiving help after the draft, but Bell could fill a role as a rookie. So we visit the wide receiver depth chart here for the Browns. I've got Bell behind Schwartz to start. They're both third-round picks. And actually, Schwartz went 8 spots before Bell. Now, Schwartz was banged up most of his rookie year with those on and off soft tissue hamstring injuries. But hopefully a nice offseason of rest. He can come into camp and be ready to go 100%, which he wasn't going into camp last year. And Bell, listen, I would sleep better if the Browns had another wide receiver on this roster. My only fear is, like, we're really banking on Amari Cooper. And that's a fine plan of action. But the NFL is an injury league. So if something were to happen, I'm not going to say the rest of that sentence. It's like you don't say the number of the craps table. But if that were to be, you know, what happened to Cooper, whoa, that could get a little ugly quickly. We'll talk more about Kiper's draft picks in just a second. But since last week, we have picked up, from what I counted, over 650 subscribers. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you got your notifications on. Hit that bell icon and select all. That way, whenever breaking Browns news or rumors comes out, like say Baker gets traded or Landry or Clowney re-signs, you're caught up to date immediately. So if you're new to the channel, happy to have you aboard here. You're one of us. Now join the Noti gang by turning on those notifications. Let's take a deeper dive at the draft picks here. I want to look at some of these guys a little closer just to get more caught up on on the new Browns roster. So we got some stats for these players. Martin Emerson, his career stats at Mississippi State. Only 1 interception, which came in his first year. He's not a ball hawk type of player. He's more of a, you don't want to throw my direction because of my size, because of my arm length, and teams look at that. Like, a quarter an inch of fingernail being longer is an extra PBU. So that's what Martin Emerson did for the Bulldogs at Mississippi State. Listen, ultimately, I asked Andrew Berry to go best player available. And that's what he did. I was a little critical of the pick at first, just because at the time they already had Troy Hill in the roster. Trading Hill away make this pick make more sense. And plus, in round 3, like I said, you take the top talent. Would have liked to have seen someone who could have been more of a starting contender. What still? Barry loves DBs, and he's thinking ahead here. I got faith in him. I trust him. I respect the pick. David Bell, meanwhile, out of Purdue, who was awesome for the Boilermakers. Make no mistake about it. Nearly 3,000 yards in just 29 games. That's like 2 seasons, guys. Remember, Big Ten hardly had a season in 2021. So, or 2020, whatever it was, yeah. 21 touchdowns as his time in West Lafayette. Now, the big knock is the speed. But I want to help everyone stomach this a little better. I looked at some old combine results. You may be surprised to see some of the big names that didn't have blazing 40 speeds. Now, granted, Bell ran a 4.65, and some of these guys are nearly a tenth of a second faster. But still, Cooper Kupp, the Triple Crown winner, was 3/10 or 300ths, whatever the math is, off from Bell. Michael Thomas, 4.57. Allen Robinson, who has been awesome for the Bears and now off to the Rams, 4.6. Devontae Adams, 4.56. Hopkins with a 4.57. Speed isn't everything. There's a lot of fast people in the world. Doesn't mean they're good at football. Perrion Winfrey. I just love looking at the picture in the background. Look at him putting Brock Purdy deep into the ground. In his time in Norman, 6 sacks, 16.5 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble. He was a absolute wrecking machine, and I'm happy to see him a part of the Dawg Pound. I think he's happy too. He had this tweet. I just want to share with everyone in case you missed it. Tweeting out saying, I had no clue Browns fans were this crazy. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Dawg Pound, Perrion Winfrey. This is one of the most passionate fan bases in the NFL. This isn't the Rams that can't even get good attendance when they're on their way to winning a Super Bowl. Talk about the Browns here. Yeah, you're in good company now, Perrion. So let's welcome Winfrey to the Dawg Pound. Type 97 down below. That's his new jersey number in Cleveland. Let's show the guy some love. Let's welcome into the Dawg Pound. Type his jersey number 97. Let him know that he's one of us now. One of us. One of us, right? We're doing Wolf of Wall Street style. So put your 97s in down in the comment section.